For as long as I can remember, I've always been a skeptic. I've just always had this internal drive to question everything. I wasn't one of those mildly infuriating kids.
Why?
But I always wondered why things work the way they do or why people choose to believe the things they believe. Did you ever watch that show, Sid the Science Kid?
How does this thing work? Why does that stuff change? How does that do what it just did?
That's kind of what I would compare myself to. I was just always looking for the root cause or deeper meaning behind things. As I grew up, this skepticism and curiosity grew right along with me. But now instead of wondering things like why is the sky blue, I began pondering deeper questions and philosophical topics. Religion, friendships, love. It's like Kendrick Lamar said.
See, I got to question it all. Family, friends, fans, cats, dogs, trees, plants, grass, how the wind blow, Murphy's Law.
I've just always been skeptical about adopting widely accepted beliefs or traits as my own before really understanding the ins and outs of them. Now, I don't want to say that I always saw this trait as negative, but I definitely focused on its downsides because, frankly, it just complicates life. Always looking for meaning behind thoughts and ideas, always looking for proof behind what's generally accepted as truth. In reality, it would be a million times easier to just follow the masses and take things at face value. But that's not me. It never has been and it never will be, and if you're watching this video, chances are that's not you either. However, I've been thinking about skepticism a lot lately, and I gotta say, my perspective on it has changed. I realized how essential being a skeptic has been to becoming the person I am today, how essential it's been to my growth. I realized that you can use a skeptic mindset to your advantage, because it is indeed a positive character trait. Allow me to explain. Skepticism, by definition, means to doubt the truth in something. But it doesn't mean that you're rejecting that thing or outright saying it's untrue. Rather, it's about questioning assumptions and testing the beliefs around an idea. René Descartes, certified short king and the father of modern skepticism, once wrote, "If you would be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things." Questioning everything allows you to dig deeper into a subject. You look at it from different perspectives, you try to make sense of all of its parts, all in an effort to find out the truth. By doing this, you're able to separate actual, useful ideas from misconceptions or false assumptions. You end up gaining a deeper understanding about the idea at hand because you approached it all with skepticism and without any preconceived notion about what the truth was. After all, Socrates said, "The only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing." Believe it or not, being a skeptic can actually help you become a better version of yourself because it forces you to challenge your own self-limiting beliefs. It forces you to question your negative self-talk. Vincent van Gogh once wrote, "If you hear a voice within you say, 'You cannot paint,' then by all means, paint, and that voice will be silenced." Whenever you start to have doubts about your skills and abilities, or whenever you start to tell yourself that you're not capable of achieving your goals, question those thoughts. Ask yourself where they come from. Is it a real belief you have about yourself, or is it simply an echo from the general self-doubt of society at large? Is there even any evidence or proof to support your doubts? If there is no proof, great, keep doing what you're doing. If there is proof, cool, what can you do to improve? Regardless, it's a win-win. The point is, being skeptical towards your own self-doubts will make you more resilient. It will allow for clearer thinking because you're not constantly questioning your abilities. And it can even improve your emotional control because you'll learn how to stop thinking negatively. So yes, if you want to become a better version of yourself, you should question everything, even your own thoughts. There's this great quote that I love by Marcus Aurelius that says, "Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When you see that, you will feel compassion." When we feel wronged by someone, it's easy to get angry and immediately blame them for what they did or how they made us feel. But if you step back and take a moment to really think about their actions, it can help you to see the real motive, which likely wasn't to hurt you in the first place. It's kind of like when two countries go to war. As brutal as it is, as sad as it is, most of the time, both countries feel that they're doing what's best for their respective nations. It just sucks that people are dying on both sides. I also apply this to things like pet peeves or actions in others that bother us, even if they're entirely inconsequential to our lives. For example, one thing that's always bothered me is when people are like exceedingly nice to the point where it feels disingenuine. I'm all for being genuine and staying true to myself, so that trait in others just doesn't meld well with me. But if I take a moment to question their actions and think about why someone may act like that, it may lead me to realize that maybe they're suffering from insecurity, or maybe they're just not comfortable in social situations and really want to make a good impression, or maybe they're just afraid that others won't like them if they're not extremely nice all the time. In fact, any of those are more likely than them just trying to put on a fake persona on purpose. But it would be easy to miss that if I wasn't skeptical and questioning the actions of said person. I think one of the most important things that can come out of skepticism is the ability to become your most authentic self. Immediately from the time we can form a coherent thought, we're bombarded with information. All of this information is based on other people's interpretation of the subject at hand. Your parents teach you their customs, their religion, their language. As you get older, school teaches you their version of history. Your peers teach you that you need to act in a certain way if you want to have friends. And the whole time society is teaching you that there are certain truths that you must accept as infallible. You must follow laws. You must accept the political system. You must adhere to their black and white concept of right and wrong. You must conform to their expectations. The issue with this isn't that you're being taught something learning is great. The issue is that always being told how to think or how to act places you in a perpetual state of mental isolation. You're trapped in a box. Jean-Paul Sartre, French philosopher, playwright, and shortest of kings, once wrote, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself." If you never question what you're told, you'll never truly create yourself. You'll simply be an amalgamation of other people's ideas, a creation of society. But if you want to free yourself from the chains of that bondage, it all starts with skepticism. Questioning all of these things, your parents' lessons, what you're taught in school, societal norms, will lead to mental freedom in that it allows you to gain your own knowledge, to form your own opinions, to develop your own philosophies about life as a whole. It's how you become uniquely you. And I'm not saying you'll disagree with everything you're told. Many of the lessons you've been taught, you're taught for a reason. They hold truth and they're valuable to have as you grow older. In fact, it's likely that you'll question some of them, do your own research and introspection only to come to the same conclusions. And that's okay. The point is to arrive there on your own merit, through your own efforts. Only then can you truly be yourself. By the way, I have a whole other video on how your thoughts are not your thoughts if anybody is interested in that topic specifically. Man, philosophy always has to have these crazy paradoxes, so here we go. One of the most interesting parts of being skeptical about everything is that it will inevitably lead you back to being skeptical about the idea itself. Is it really a good idea to question everything? Well, not necessarily. German philosopher Immanuel Kant believed that while skepticism is useful in practice and in many areas of our lives, it's also important to balance that with trusting how we already perceive the world. Okay, look, Kant was also a short king at 5'2". In fact, they all were. Marcus Aurelius, Van Gogh, and Socrates were all estimated to be about 5'7", and even Kendrick Lamar is 5'5". I'm only 5'7" myself, so these guys are like pioneers to me. I'm not sure why all the philosophers I've talked about in this video were all short dudes, but I kind of went down this rabbit hole and I just had to share, so anyway, back to the topic at hand. Kant wrote, "Skepticism is a resting place for human reason, where it can reflect upon its dogmatic wanderings, but it is no dwelling place for permanent settlement." For the most part, we are able to and should trust our sense of sight, our sense of touch, even our moral compass. There is no need to constantly question these things because it can lead to cynicism. You can become paranoid that everything and everyone is out to deceive you, so you should never take things at face value. It can even lead to existential crises because you may start to question your own existence. As with all things, skepticism should be approached in a nuanced and moderate manner. Yes, it's important, but not enough to destroy your sense of reality. Funny enough, skepticism will even have you questioning this video, so take everything with a grain of salt. Also, one thing I didn't talk about in this video, but that people are often skeptical about, is the idea of God and religion. I have an entire video on that subject, so consider checking that out next. But with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.